Hello, and welcome to episode 14 of Creative Inclinations. This is the podcast where we discuss music, art, culture, entertainment, and more with me, David Steele. And today we have two very special guests, Nathan and Neal Robinson, otherwise known as the Robinson Brothers, DJs. Welcome.
How's it going, man?
Thanks for coming, y'all. Yeah, this is
I'm shocked it's taken this long to get
Right,
invited
yeah.
to be on any of your podcasts, if I must say.
I mean, that's what I was gonna say.
I told my girlfriend, I was like, well, finally got asked. So
I mean, we if people don't know, so a lot of people watching this probably will know that we are longtime friends. We've known each other since we were about 12 years old, I think.
yeah, 12 or 13. So
yeah, right. Definitely middle school.
6th or 7th
Yeah,
grade.
right. I mean, that's
grade.
definitely when we kind of
Children.
got yeah. So our whole lives, which is exciting, but or as far as especially like just having you guys on, because I don't know. I mean, like I said, I was telling you, I had this idea to bring you guys on fairly. I mean, I've had it for a while. Like I knew I was this day would come eventually, because I was like, it was one day you were posting about like your rare record collections.
Mm-hmm.
And like all these different like vinyls that you get shipped over,
Yeah.
from, like buy them online, and it's like I was like, man, that's fascinating to like talk. I was like, that could be a podcast right there.
Well, I thought that was even just be a fun thing. I was just kind of, because those were like, I was showcasing some kind of more rare kind of gems that are in my collection that I'm certain styles and genres that I'm really interested in that might not necessarily ever get played in a Robinson Brothers set, but have just as much of an impact on kind of what kind of music I like to play or what kind of stuff I'm into. So I thought it was like a fun thing to just kind of preview, give a little bit of information on it, obviously play a little bit of the song, and I might give like a listing to like the Discog listing. But yeah, I've actually got a lot of really good feedback from a lot of different people that I wouldn't even think that were kind of watching them.
It's interesting, especially because just that style of music. Like I'll definitely ask you more about your record collection later, but
it's a big one.
But it's those rare records and that kind of rare style of music that it's like people wouldn't even know exists, because it's like on these rare vinyls that aren't even like
they're like not on Spotify.
Yeah, you can't find.
Well, you would call them in the DJ world. You would say like unshazammable.
Oh yeah,
would be like the token phrase you would use to say like heads ain't got this, or what I mean, y'all never heard of this before. So
yeah. Exactly.
Which is kind of like
it's a rare thing in our day and age. I mean,
truly,
like
when everything is discoverable and everything is Shazammable,
you can find
and everything is like Googleable.
That's fascinating. So, but you guys also aren't just DJs. I mean, just growing up, I've known you're both visual artists. You're also a photographer. I don't know.
I still take pictures. These days, it's more of just for
kind of
personal
hobby,
pleasure. Yeah. Well, I ride my bike a lot, so I'm a big road cyclist. So I usually keep my camera packed in my bag. So because I'm riding around the city, you see the good, the bad, the ugly. And so
you see
a lot of it, some of it's really quite, depending on the type of day, is very photogenic.
Sure. Yeah. No, because I love your Instagram stories and posts that you'll just be riding your bike and it's just like beautiful scenery. Which is always fun to see. But
man.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that also like it's our life's always been informed by art.
Yeah.
And so, but like even that can, I guess, even our fascination with music, and just kind of that creative aspect. Even at such an early age, I think we were always drawing and
discovering new
and that was like Christmas presents for like colored pencils and stuff.
Exactly.
You always remember your first CDs, or wanting to get like a CD player, and like how that would be like the best Christmas present, But so just all of that kind of like creative.
I think you guys have always been exploring different creative outlets your whole lives. So.
Yeah, you don't really realize it until you're like about my age, you kind of reflect back and say, well, I've really kind of been into a lot of different things and
tried different things.
And so just kind of
awesome.
let you know that more I would call
even
that.
If
like,
you're not making it, you're like, I love appreciating
you're
too. Like I
seeker.
like, you go to museums. You like
that's definitely something. You guys have in my head think you guys are huge appreciators of art,
Truly.
more so than makers sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally.
But yeah, so that's why I think that you guys are a good fit, especially for this show, because I'm my solo podcast. I'm always trying to explore these different creative outlets. Like I've had poets on here. I've had visual artists, different all kinds of different,
all the left brain thinkers.
All the different, not just comedians or musicians. Which I mean, this also I have a lot more musicians on this podcast. But anyways. So I kind of wanted to start with kind of going back to our early days, and but I know I always ask my guests this, but I know the answer already that you guys both grew up here in Oklahoma City. You guys were you born here too, right?
Yep. Yeah. Born and raised, man.
Yeah, and we all grew up in the same neighborhood.
Within I think like 2 miles of each other, really.
So definitely. I already know a lot of that history, but I wanted to talk about kind of like how we met and like do you guys remember your first memories of like I guess meeting me and Nick? 'Cause I remember me and Nick met on like the second day of school.
Truly, I met Nick. It was 7th grade. It was I don't know if it was like what was it, A and B?
Right.
I think it was B1 English.
Block.
I think Mrs. Cook or something. But I was like, he just kind of like was like.
That was
like hey, what's up? And then Nick. So you're like, oh, I guess I'll just be chatting with this guy.
He forced you to be friends with him.
Yeah, but and I think that you had already known Nick or kind of So
he and I have been friends for the whole year before we kind of all.
So I think that's how we kind of latched on, and then and so ensued. But I think it was mostly like his personality was just like, hey, you're gonna be my buddy.
Especially for that class.
Yeah. So it was pretty perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't really remember the exact moment, but I know that
probably through us.
It's kind of we all just kind of like lunchtime. I think everybody congregates. In some place, and you kind of at that time it's so funny now because of the resurgence, or maybe it's never left to my but like everyone was so into like Dragon Ball Z and in that Toonami era, so that was everybody was in that. So I think it might have been something like everyone was just hanging out, congregating, talking about that.
What we watched yesterday on TV.
Who was drawing Goku in their notebook?
I have a lot of memories of that, like us and
fan art of like Dragon Ball Z.
That was like always in art class. No, but for real, that's because I do remember. Because this memory has always been in my head for whatever reason. Obviously, I think that we all knew each other even before we became friends. It's like you see each other in class or different things. So, but I remember a specific memory of us like outside after lunch during lunch, and like I remember you guys were like talking about like Rage Against the Machine or something.
Yeah,
it was like one of my first memories of even discovering what that band was.
Oh yeah, I was heavily in my new metal era.
So that's like one of my, for whatever reason, I have that distinct vision of like this memory of and like hearing just you guys talk about
tortured twins
that band or
listening
whatever.
to angsty music. Yeah, we were really into Korn and Deftones and all that stuff, and
But no, I just kind of wanted to jump back.
Yeah, for sure.
And then obviously we became friends, good friends from 7th grade all on. But we all
bonded through
skateboarding and got into that because you guys definitely introduced, I think, Nick and I to that culture and world.
And then it just took over. That's all we wanted to do. That's
for
all
like all
of
high school.
Yeah, after every class, got out of class, we'd go home, get our boards, meet over at Northwest Class, and we'd skate there and then go somewhere else.
Right, we took over the city.
That's what we do on the weekend too.
Skateboarding informed a lot of music too.
Yeah,
truly.
That's kind of wanted to bring that up because skateboard culture. I mean, there's so many kind of elements that I think we learn from that and like watching skate videos. I think a lot of skate music that we liked, we heard in skate videos.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, you think about getting into indie music. I mean, some of the first time you hear like Modest Mouse or the Shins, or some of those old Trans World videos, and hearing Dinosaur Jr. and all that. And so, I mean, that's hugely informed that type of. And actually, I always use this as like, I don't know if it's an analogy, but discovering the Strokes was like my musical fork in the road because I was still very much listening to new metal and
I mean,
that kind of
but
stuff.
that was like popular music. I mean, because before I met you guys, and like you said, you bring up the Strokes too, and it's like for me that was the same. Like that was like a turning point in this in my genres of music
Absolutely.
that I liked.
And I remember having a distinct memory. Of looking at a Spin magazine one Saturday, and there was just like a little article about them, and then I was like, wow, this band looks really cool. And my mom, she had to go to Target for some reason, Best Buy or something. And we went with her, and then they had that Stroke CD there, and I had asked my mom. I was like, "Hey, Mom, can you give me this?" She did, and so if we had not gone to Best Buy at that time, or if I had not opened up that Spin magazine to see that. But then I get home, I listen to it, and it's just that kind of synapse. I'm like, this is insane. This is different. This is like doing something to me. And I always call that my musical fork in the road, where like, I don't know what I'd be listening to now, but that type of indie music and finding kind of more underground stuff at that time, that kind of informed me, my exploration into just finding new stuff.
Like wanting to discover
that new,
and like, and it informs how you want to dress at that point, And it's just like, what, it like, to your point, the fork in the road, it's just like, who knows what, nothing wrong with it, but like, what if we like kept on with the new metal and we became auto mechanics,
right?
Or, so it's just, it does kind of,
because it takes you into a whole lifestyle. The same way that skateboarding does the same, I mean, my first real job was at a skate shop. I mean, worked at Fast Forward. Arguably, probably the coolest job that a 16-year-old could ever have. So
because, and I always think about, I haven't thought about that in a while, but I remember because we were there all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And like eventually you got a job, and it's like
my friends would come and hang out with me. Yeah, and and even then working with, I would say, quote, older people. I mean, I was 16, but like some, they were all.
You always think that they're so much older, but they're probably like in
early
their
20s.
Like maybe a few years
between
older
18
than
and
us.
I think 24
but still,
or 5. But
that's like a big jump in that.
And they were
time.
turning me on to like, music and stuff like that, and that the stuff that was getting played there. I would heard bands like Pinback and again like a lot more like Modest Mouse, and so just it just kind of curated my whole lifestyle for a long, and I inform much of my life now, and my style and just creativity is all really informed by that kind of stuff.
Goes back to then.
It goes back to skateboarding.
Yeah, because I remember, I mean, and like you were saying about like the kind of Rage Against the Machine, Red Hot Chili Peppers, it's like those were like, you couldn't not know who those bands were. And it's like, even for me, it's like I was more into the pop music.
Like TRL
like,
kind of.
Yeah, I was on like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. Like I knew all the pop bands and stuff like that, which, I mean, I still get into it. That's something that's been interesting for me today.
To
it's
revisit.
Like I'm like, now that's mostly what I'm listening to is like kind of discovering all these new pop artists that I haven't been paying attention to for 10, 15 years.
Okay.
And it's like going back and like listening to a lot of Rihanna.
Right on.
I mean, I don't know, just like certain kind of those singers that like, I mean, I don't know. It does kind of take me back to like this childhood feeling.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
That's awesome.
But I kind of also, I mean, I listen to everything, and I always have like just different genres. But like being in the car for like 7-8 hours a day now, I'm like always like, God, I gotta listen to something new, different. Trying to find.
That's cool that you do. Like, a lot of people would listen to I listen to a lot of podcasts, and but that's a good use of time.
Yeah,
if you have to
just kind of go and discover. But I'm getting into more dance music too, or just like I've always,
my language.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, and that's kind of trying to just listen to that because I think that something about music that I've thought about. I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot recently. Is like the music is. I think the purpose for music is to change our emotional state. It's like that's the whole thing, and like nobody really thinks about that, but it does, and it's like
informs your mood.
Yeah, if you're in a bad mood and you put something fun on, then you're gonna hopefully feel better, and like
it has. There is definitely transitory effects.
Yeah, because I mean, and I've thought about this for a lot longer, but music is all feeling. We feel music more so than you even hear it. I mean, what is hearing anyways? It's just vibrations in your head. That like, but it's all. That's why I think going to concerts and going to experience live music or music that's being played at you very loudly. It's like this emotional feeling that you get hit by these waves of sound.
And you feed off other people too.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. But I think for me, it's like I put on a lot of like dance music or pop music when I'm in the car, when I'm getting kind of worn out from driving. And I'm just like, I just need to pick me up.
Yeah. It's like that whole, it's like being on a road trip. It's like you're tired, but like it's cold outside. It's like rolling the window down.
Yeah. So it's like, I think that's for me, a lot of it is just, and that's why I'm drawn to kind of this more high energy music that's like, I don't know. It's just something I've been thinking about.
Right on. Oh yeah, man.
But it's I don't know. I think about that a lot, just as far as the effects that we have on how to affect our own emotional states.
Okay.
And music is a huge one, obviously. But yeah, you guys playing music, I'm sure you.
Oh yeah.
Probably witnessed that in a lot of cases. But
well, yeah. I mean, it's like you say that just the act of DJing itself is. You're trying to get, let's say, a whole room of people on the same wavelength, and so it's
a lot easier than saying like, "Hey, what's a rock song that everyone can agree on?" Which like dance music can be universal, and it's like even if someone's not into that style of music, it's hard to, just kick away like a nice beat or bass line or something. It's something everyone
body can't argue with.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's like I think that's when you have
body keeps the score
when you have
that.
That kick drum pumping, and it's just like, man, you just can't help but
you can find something you like about it.
Because I think that's why I think that I'm fascinated so much by dance music is that it like, makes you want to move.
Yeah, it's a tool.
There's just a lot of kinetic kind of probably fundamentals behind it. I mean, what it just actually does to like the vibrations of your body, I mean, just by the actual 4/4 kind of idea of just that kind of beat. What you can do with that, but it definitely is a mood changer, and I've seen it real time many times. We both have just like playing for a crowd, and just you'll play that one song, you might not, and then it kind of turns the room, and then you just keep that momentum going for the rest of the night. And then you've got them in your hands, and then you can play them a little bit of everything. You could go on
then
different little
you can
journeys.
kind of just start exploring.
Yeah, you can go exploring. That's
that's probably similar to comedy in some ways.
Oh, probably
enough because it's like. I mean, I've never done stand-up comedy, and I probably won't. I tell people, yeah, sure, I'll try it one day, but I'm lying.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it.
It's not. It's a little bit harder than karaoke.
I would, but it's like I just don't want to be a comedian. I don't, what I mean? Like I don't care.
You enjoy
about
comedy?
We no, but I love like talking about it and like watching it for sure.
We all grew up. We that's what we would do.
Premium blend.
Premium blend, man. Comedy Central presents, man. That was our Saturday nights, Friday, Saturday nights. We sleep over each other's houses and just watch that while we're downloading music, and
for sure,
and so I mean, comedy, man, we just always loved it.
That's informed a lot of our friendships.
That's what I always think about with me and Nick. I mean, for sure, our friendship, and I've talked about this a lot too. It's like way before he ever started comedy, it's like we just love to laugh, but that's like not just him; it's all of us. We just loved getting together and just making each other laugh and just.
That's how a friendship lasts so long. It's just like enjoying each other's company, just like cutting up. I mean, it's just like, man, it's just nothing better than that.
I guess I don't really ever think about you guys being. I mean, we all grew up and we were all there watching the same things, but it's like I don't know. I just always think about me and Nick, or we talk about that a lot because it's like that's literally his roots in comedy was like us, discovering Dave Chappelle and all these people.
Yeah, and even though I remember that first Louis C.K. Comedy Central, like that half hour, which is nothing like what he does now, but that was still such a good special.
Yeah. It's like you like laughing. It's like, oh yeah, we love laughing. It's like I think we also like another person's perspective on the world that we're living in. So it's like, when you're interested in stuff like that, and that's what comedy is. It's like, hey, looking at through somebody else's eye. It's like, oh, that is kind of goofy. Yeah. And it kind of informing how you maybe look at the world a little bit differently.
Yeah, that's what I think my favorite thing about it, and I always say this, is like comedy is the best. It's the most purest expression, I think, in a lot of ways, because it's literally just talking about your experience and trying to, and you can be very literal with it. I mean, there's not a lot of metaphor in comedy, if any. I mean, it's all just telling someone this is how you see something,
right?
and
this is what happened to me,
making it humorous, and then the other person is relating to that, and so it's like there's not a lot of like room for interpretation usually.
Unless you're like just like
which is interesting, but like but yeah, I mean similarly, but I love that because you get to know like we have so many comedian friends now that like I feel like I know so well because I see them do stand-up comedy, and you know so much about someone after watching them talk about their view of the world, and you feel like you have that stronger interesting connection. I don't know, but so anyways, yeah, it's fascinating. But yeah, well, speaking of like more of the early influences, but not only comedy obviously was, I think, was a huge influence on all of us growing up, but I mean also like art, visual art in general. I mean, Nathan, I always remember your kind of visual style. I don't know if you really do a lot of visual art anymore these days.
I pick it up and sketch and I like
you always like to. I always remember your sketches from back in the day, but I know that one of your early, and probably both of you guys' early art influence was like from Basquiat and also the street artist Banksy. Was like those two. I don't know. I always think about those two artists when I think about you guys.
Just like that kind of like street art.
I liked Basquiat. It was like kind of like, hey, something can be rough around the edges, but still feel put together, and it's like you can still see kind of if it's figures or even the way you would use colors, but it's like it didn't have to always be colored in the lines, and that it was something that could be a little bit raw, and I think it's just like that always was something that I was interested in is just things that could be a little bit raw but still feel like complete works,
it's still an idea
and not feel like they're really missing anything.
And it's like it doesn't have to be like perfectly clean lines and things like that. It can be a little, because that's what I think with visual art too. I mean, obviously I'm deep into that world, or I know a ton of visual artists today, more so than I ever
you
have.
probably, you talk to them all the time.
But it's like, we're just seeing a lot of the art at Mycelium Gallery, where I hang out a lot and do a lot of work with them. But like, I love this like expressionist art, and it's like none of that stuff is like clean line. It's all just kind of messy and just, but it's just, I think it's emotional. You
can definitely feel the mood from it. So. But I always kind of gravitate towards those kind of artists where it might be mainly colors, or just real gestural lines, but you get more a mood off of the paintings.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I was curious if you had done any. You never really done it like, I mean, as far as
not as the same scale as Neal.
Neal, you've had like art showings and shows and things like that, so it's like as far as like really really dedicating it to it.
I've always just kind of liked I haven't done an art show in a few years, but again, like DJing and playing music and stuff like that,
you gotta focus on one thing
I'm kind of or like probably for the photography, I'm very singularly focused on a lot of things, but I can't really remember, but I just would like, I started making some new different type of work that was different than I normally had done. And I kind of just put myself out there and just decided I wanted to show it. And then that showing just led to another showing. And I think I
saw how easy it was to kind of,
and I think all in all,
not easy, but it's like, hey, you can actually, people will let you hang stuff on the wall, and
it's not as hard as you think whenever you're like, how do you even get started with that?
I think I've had maybe like 5 solo shows of like 12 or so works, and then I've probably been in maybe like 8 or so group shows, and just like but
I remember, well, I know that your style, or for a long time, was very like, you like what is it, I wrote it down or at least my kind of impression of it, but maybe I didn't. Oh yeah, geometric.
Yeah, geometrical abstraction.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I was looking for that word, but yeah, it's very geometrical, but also with like elements of photography and different like mixed media.
So I was just I started working in just kind of geometrical abstraction, and then I kind of morphed into kind of making these kind of geometric type of visual sculptures. And then I kind of started implementing kind of like elements of collage, and then later just using pieces of like part of my own photography.
Yeah,
in it.
that's what
So,
I remember that specifically. But your style has definitely kind of evolved
Yeah.
over the years.
Yeah, so
And just
it's
add different things, try different things. So how did you? I guess where did you start with? I remember. I guess you started just by drawing cartoon characters and stuff
I
when
just
you were
kind
in
of really
high
just
school.
I'm a
Always like with a pen in your hand.
yeah, so I'm a pretty good like just figurative artist, like
Yeah.
just drawing like the natural world and
Right.
faces and hands and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And I think I was just at work one day. I was just kind of doodling on like a post-it note, and then
Mhm.
I would just kind of do that when, in between during the day. I'd kind of just mess around with something. I had like a ruler, so I would
Yeah.
just kind of make these little patterns, and then
Mhm.
TR legal.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
so then I just went from there. Like I kind of started making more. Oh, let me see if I can actually make an actual picture of
Yeah.
this, and then
Making it
it
kind
just
of
it
taking
kind
it
of
from the post-it note and putting on a whole canvas.
yeah, and then
Eventually.
it kind of like evolved, and I really enjoyed it, and like, it was kind of
Mhm.
a puzzle, and
Yeah.
it was very detail oriented,
Mhm.
and you can kind of like there's a mindful element where you could lose yourself
Yeah.
in the whole process. Things became a little bit more elaborate, and then I was like, well, this is actually something. And then I added paint and color and
Mhm.
more refinedness to it, and then I was like, well, this is
Yeah.
actually something. This is kind of like
Mhm.
my own visual language and voice through this, and so that's when I was like,
And it
well, let's see
was.
if I can go show some stuff, and it was really well
Mhm.
received, and then
Yeah, I think
it went,
it's very unique. Is the
yeah,
thing is like you don't see a lot of people, especially like abstract stuff. I mean, that's my favorite kind of art. Is like I don't want to go like I used to go to like the Paseo art walks a lot. I used to love going down
yeah,
there because it's like it was just a lot of people and a lot of fun. But I got sick of going in those galleries because
Horse
it's like
art,
the same damn flowers and a
Western, like
lion or whatever.
yeah.
It's like okay, cool, but it's like it's great.
Your
It's like I
taste
don't
was
want
never
to.
really
But
represented.
it's like it's just realistic and whatever. But it's like yeah, I want to see the weird stuff. I want to see something I've never seen before.
yeah.
And that's interesting you
100%.
say that, like,
Yeah,
in a way that so that was kind of like my
yeah,
idea of like as far as creating art, and it got to kind of pretty elaborate to the point where the more challenging thing was to try to have just as much of a visual impact using this geometric
yeah.
abstraction, but try to pull back as much as I could to make something as simple as possible,
Hmm.
but pack as big of a punch as something maybe
Hmm.
as detailed and ornate.
Right.
So somebody could have how big of an impact can I make with as few as lines and
Hmm.
maybe panels of color or
Yeah,
pieces of collage as possible.
kind of an interesting
Like
challenge
it's
for
like
yourself. It's like how do you like
using the power of
yeah,
reduction
yeah.
to create an overall impact.
Taking because I remember I've seen a lot of your work over the years, and it's like you have done stuff that's a lot of lines.
Right.
Like you'll like go the opposite way and like put a ton of detail
Right.
and
You could
stuff.
almost overwork something, and
Yeah.
to where now it's like it's more fun to just try to see how can
Hmm.
I do something with like at most 15 markings that would
Right. That's an
create
interesting
various
thing.
shapes or
Yeah. I
panels,
mean,
and then have it look very action packed or like kind
hmm
of feel in
yeah,
motion.
yeah. Have some kind of fluidity or
Mhm.
But
something in there.
to your point, as far as like the paseo, like
Yeah.
your taste not being represented in the galleries, or
Hmm.
your aesthetic of what you like to see, you like the weird stuff. You like
Hmm.
something that's kind of abstract, and you build your own
Yeah.
interpretation, and that's kind of how me and my brother think about music. And
Hmm.
I've always thought about stuff. It's like I've heard everything. It feels like,
Right.
and so constantly searching for that new sound or something
Hmm.
interesting in the electronic space that kind of moves us to where it's like this could be in our set. This could
Yeah.
be a Robinson Brothers type of track, and constantly in the hunt for that because
Hmm.
at a certain point it's like somebody who's really into horror movies. They're
Yeah.
looking for that next scare, and
It's like
they're
some that
constantly leveling, and
Mhm.
it's just they're numb to everything like
right.
prior, and so there is a certain ceiling that I'm constantly looking for. We
Hmm.
are
You're trying to
with music,
trying
try
to
to find the weirdest stuff, and a lot of it is just like crazy old tracks on
yeah.
vinyl that
Hmm.
we'll find like digging in like New York City or Chicago,
Right.
and just
Just
like
yeah, in different
or
these old
old weird
stuff.
places, finding. And I for a brief period worked at guest room on like the weekends and stuff.
Oh, I
So
didn't know that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so there
Yeah.
would
So that's a
be
good job for a DJ.
so absolutely, yeah, there'd be people that would sell in there
Yeah.
like DJ records, and so I'd have like first dibs and I'd
Yeah.
go and look through them, and so that's where I
Hmm.
would find
That's
what was
interesting.
like possibly like it might be an old DJ's collection, so I could kind of get almost like insight into what was being played at like the rec room or like off 39th Street or like some of the clubs around here, like in the mid 90s or early 2000s, just by the records that were brought in.
Interesting.
So kind of a time capsule. So, but I would always get first dibs.
I want to get to the music in just 1 second. There's one more thing I wanted to bring up before that, but is like kind of the urban culture, but more so the fashion is something that I know you guys and you guys pay a lot of attention to, but yeah, I'm just fascinated, like, because obviously, kind of the question was like, we've already talked about like the skateboard culture and stuff like that, and I think that informs kind of some of your fashion ideas, or especially early on. But you've taken that and still like one of I wanted to bring up the premium brand Supreme.
Yeah.
You got that on.
Yeah,
it's like that was like a huge. I mean,
well, like the iconic, iconic skate brand.
Yeah,
from New York. But like skateboarding. Skateboarding and fashion.
Yeah,
skateboarding has informed fashion since its conception. Before,
even a better use of the word style.
Yeah. Style, skateboard style. Yeah, I mean it's been informing what what kind of clothes are made, and I mean it's from back in the 90s with baggy jeans and polo, and certain like some brands escape me, but and how like that would transition into skinny jeans and like that kind of Hessian type of era, which that's kind of the era of skateboarding that we kind of got into, wearing like shoestrings as your belt, and the type of Jeff Rowley, those type of Vans, small jeans before like wearing skinny jeans, like you had to buy girl jeans because they didn't make skinny jeans for guys at all you kids out there. So you had to, like, when I'm working at Fast Forward, it's like skinny jeans were all the rage, whether it like be the indie bands that you saw, like the Strokes, everybody, but you could not get skinny jeans. So you had to buy girl jeans. And like I was a size 13 and a girl's Volcom, but like your pockets were this big to put your Nokia phone, half of it's hanging out, enough to hold your wallet.
You look cool, so who cares?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Fashion over function.
But and so learning, just like that, and just like like everybody, like indie music, it was just like, it was just as much about dressing and looking cool as it was like being the person that knew about that band that nobody else did, and
it was either you had photos that you'd reference in like a spin magazine and be like, hey, this is cool, this is what this band's dressed like, but you had to go out and see other people and how they were dressing, because it's not like it used now, like where it's Instagram, you can kind of just have someone's old mood board and see like, hey, I think I want to look like that, here's 100 reference photos that I can reference. It's like you had to go out and be with the people and see like, hey, like what are people wearing? Like, what's cool? And then also it's like, hey, no one wants to go out and look like a dweeb.
Yeah. And as David, we were out.
Especially in Oklahoma. It's like if we lived and grew up in like LA or New York, and it's like nobody would look twice. But here for sure nobody was dressing like they are out in the East and West Coast. But it was one thing I've been thinking a lot about, and I probably heard someone else say this, but it's like there is no fashion trends anymore. Like
it's all just out there.
Yeah, it's like anybody can be anything they want at any time. It doesn't matter.
It's just whatever your Explore page, you can curate it to wear whatever you want to dress like. And I know this is odd, because it's like you see, 10-year-old kids that are dressing like grown-ups.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that like this is me as a spectator or just like outsider's perspective, but it was a rite of passage to be a youth at our, like, as a millennial, because everyone just had to go through an awkward phase because we didn't know any better.
Because we were all trying to discover
you try to dress like the
on
older
a budget.
Kid. But you try to do your best. You try to dress like the older kid at the mall.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just your gauge. That's how we all knew about Jinkos. You just saw the older kid at the mall wearing baggy jeans. And you're like, what are those? They're Jinkos. Where do you get them? You get them at Gadzooks or the Buckle. And you're like, okay, well, Mom, I know what I need for Christmas.
Now you need the money.
Yeah. And so, but, we all look at those, which is funny. Jinkos are popular again. But
but that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter anymore.
It does not matter.
You can bring anything from any era.
They call our past culture Y2K fashion.
Yeah.
But it's like we had to find our voice through clothing and finding what you like and stuff. And
it's an interesting thing.
Yeah, I got into sneakers really early on.
I forgot. That's like, I mean, I assume you still have a massive sneaker collection.
Well, not so much anymore. I sold a lot of pairs.
But I remember you had a massive one at one point.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I kind of transitioned into more like I wear like a lot of loafers and more like my new sneakers are just like nice loafers and stuff. But but that kind of got me into the brand Supreme and just that type of actual streetwear culture, which I was very much in.
That's like the high end.
Yeah, just all those different brands and stuff, in very limited quantities, depending on what you were looking for. And so that just kind of also gave me some sort of spotlight and insight into what was going on in like some of the major cities like New York City and like a lot of brands out there. And I just have always been into fashion and just kind of, whether it's like stuff that I would wear or not, I've always been interested and I look and learn about it, I
think it's interesting too. Well, I talk a lot about, it's like, me and Nick talk a lot about on this show is like whenever you're growing up, and that's why I always like going back and asking people about their early influences, because no matter who you are, if you're a guitar player, a singer, or a comedian, it's like you're growing up and you see something in the world, like you grow up and you watch Dave Chappelle and you're like, I want to be that, it's like I like that. I want to be, and you start moving towards that. Right. And it's the same thing with like fashion, it's like, and I think everybody kind of has, even if you're not hugely into fashion or at all, it's like when you're growing up as a teenager, you're like, you want to try to define yourself. So you like see something in the world and you're like, I like that. I want to be that. And you go towards it.
You try to find your own kind of your own.
This is my kind of music.
Yeah,
exactly. This band is what
this is how I dress. This is how I dress. This is how I dress.
That comedian, like that's the kind of humor I like. Right. That's
Yeah, or I dress and act this way to inform the other person that this is what I'm into.
Right.
You could tell by somebody in a certain era if they wore like a band T-shirt with like a skinny like sport coat and whatever band slip-ons or whatever, it's like they're probably into like Arcade Fire or Grizzly Bear or something like that, or Animal Collective.
You kind of know something about them before you even talk to them. Or something.
It's like, I could probably get along with that guy or girl.
I wanted to ask about one thing specifically, because I've seen you post, but what's your relationship with Mint Apparel? Is that like a local?
Oh yeah, so they're a local company. They do like printing for a lot of local businesses around here, and they have their own kind of like in-house label and stuff, and they're just actually.
So were you guys just fans of them?
No, the owners just
fans of us.
Yeah, friends of us. So they would come to a lot of our sets. We used to DJ over at Ponyboy a lot, and we just kind of linked up and became pretty fast friends. And so they'll have like pop-up events and stuff like that every once in a while. And so we kind of we'll always really love supporting them. They're just great people, and so we always kind of play whenever they have kind of an event going on. And
that's interesting. I just I wrote that down because I've seen
a lot of the local breweries. One of the owners, John, he does like a lot of the graphic design for a lot of the these like local brewery labels and stuff,
like
and like
logos or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's got his kind of own like you can kind of tell what his designs are.
Cool.
So.
And that's one of the owners of Mint. How long have they? Do you know like any of their history? I'm just curious.
I think they had a 10-year anniversary.
10 years. Yeah.
So
and I assume they have like a store.
Yeah, they had a store. I think they recently moved. I'm not sure where, but they had a store. It was in the Paseo, just right around the corner from Disneyland.
I didn't even know. I wasn't even really familiar. I wouldn't have known anything about them if you guys hadn't like posted about them.
Yeah. Because they would have like kind of a store opening like first Fridays and stuff.
Right,
so we would just play. We would just play there. Yeah, it was always a good time.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah,
I wanted to bring that up because I wasn't sure how that all came to be.
Just again, it's just being out, just meeting people, and just finding you have a lot in common, and just
especially because it makes sense, of course. Like I said, and it's just funny too because like you guys kind of are aligned with like a local brand, that's like. Now, I mean, obviously, if you were in a big city, I'm sure you would have been with a even bigger brand somewhere. It's just being here, it's like we have what we have. But it's awesome that you guys found your way to kind of that kind of premium brand. This episode of Rhythm and Wit is brought to you by buymeacoffee.com/rhythmandwit, where you can go and make a $5 donation or possibly more to Rhythm and Wit. It is our way of raising money here on the podcast. And what you do is go on to buymeacoffee.com/rhythmandwit. Check out the link in the description of the video. And then what you do is you can make a donation, which is a cup of coffee. You can make a donation for 1 cup of coffee, which is $5, 10 cups of coffee if you can afford it, which would be amazing.
$50.
Yeah, so it kind of goes from there. And what you also do is when you make the donation, it will allow you to leave a message, and we will read your message here on the show. Just like Don bought 3 coffees, and he says, "Stay caffeinated, fellas."
Hey.
Thanks, Don. Claybar has a comment. "You both rock for highlighting the local community. Keep on showing off what creativity OK has to offer."
All right.
So that's something we love to do.
Claybar?
So, yeah.
Claybar.
So thank you to those 2 donations. And then, yes, if you make your donation, we will shout out your message here on the channel.
Yeah.
So,
we'll say your name. It's super fun.
I wanted to get into, obviously, music. I know that you guys, early on, you guys have both played, at least tried playing instruments, because you actually were playing bass before I did.
Very briefly.
Yeah.
You took the reins,
right?
for sure.
But it's funny because I remember you had a bass before I did, and then Nathan, you played some guitar. Do you still play guitar?
No. Honestly, the extent of like the guitar that I played was really like Nick, let me borrow like a Squire guitar and
just to mess around with.
Yeah, and I think it's I always just like the kind of never you play you go the tablature and you learn how to play a song, but I always really, and it's kind of funny, like I liked hooking up to the guitar pedals and then making these little loops and delays and like kind of cool little 8-bar
I remember that.
Like, loops that you could do with it and delays. And that was always like the coolest thing to me, which is like also kind of like, again, as far as DJing, it's just
similar,
like using effects in kind of like a more musical way, where it's just like, you're taking a song and adding some delay on it and echo and making that song kind of turn into something even more rhythmic and something different. But that was about the extent of the guitar. The old Squire. And
but I knew that. I knew that you guys aren't playing. You guys don't play now for sure. But I was just curious because I wanted to bring it up because that was your first introduction into like creating music, at least, or kind of.
Yeah, being around you guys too.
Being more active as far as not just listening to music.
Yeah, truly wanting to have some sort
figuring
of
out. Yeah, it's kind of you're trying to
place
find
in there.
Yeah, find your way and how to create or
watching you guys kind of like learn how to play your instruments, and like you'd never played bass before, and then you kind of figuring out what's your style, how do you like to, and even like how do you like to play the bass, how you like to hold it, you kind of figure that out. Nick's always been like kind of in the guitars and
always,
and just like seeing how I think also it's like being a teenage boy. It's just like you're
gonna
constantly,
try it.
everyone wants to be in a band,
right?
Or like or just that's just kind of one of those things. At a certain point, you're just like so fascinated with. So it's cool having some friends that were doing it. You could kind of be behind the scenes.
Yeah, kind of like it's adjacent at least, and kind of being along for the ride in some ways for sure. Yeah, I was just curious. It's like I know that you guys love music so much. Probably more so than even me and Nick in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Like, but it's like you guys never like really got into playing traditional music the way we did, anyways.
Yeah, I think I realized really early on that when it comes to like actual bass guitar, guitar and stuff like that, I'm a spectator.
Yeah,
and I'm a music appreciator.
Right.
And like I've got better ears than I do.
Yeah, like actual
hands, dexterity in that way.
That's
and I
interesting.
think learning to even DJ and play vinyl and spin vinyl and mix. That's my girlfriend actually told me it's like you do basically play an instrument.
Yeah,
being very proficient at what we do.
I think so.
It's definitely an instrument.
I always say that you learn how to play, depending if it's not like necessarily electronic music, but you you're putting two different bands, either disco bands or whatever, together, and you're having them swap instruments basically. Like if you're taking the bass out of this and you're bringing the bass up to another from the other track, so you're like almost playing two different bands at the same time. And so you kind of have to have like that somewhat musicality.
You have to have an ear, and you have to have a certain level of discernment to know what could go. Because you're having two different songs talk to each other. A song that could possibly have been made in like the early '80s, playing right before something that was kind of recorded within the last 5 years. Two songs that may have never talked to each other ever, and getting them to actually sync up and have melodies and drums and bass and all that kind of stuff work together and actually swap places, and that's
interesting. Yeah, I think a lot about because I was really into music production for a long time. I don't do it as much these days, but like learning how to use like a DAW, digital audio workstation, and like mix different recorded tracks and kind of doing all that. Like, and at one point I realized it's like that in and of itself is like playing an instrument, and it's like you got
100%, man. Anything where you got to use your brain, I call it an instrument. Man.
You're figuring out, and you have to do it a lot to get better and better at it, and to be more familiar.
Reps. It's like when you guys were in a band, it's like you had to play a bunch of shows before you got really good at playing shows. Where you weren't so nervous. Same here. Like we had to play a bunch of DJ sets and have a lot of sets not go so well to be able to get comfortable with them.
Fascinating, because it brings me into my next question is, of course, how did you actually start DJing? Like, what was like the first kind of introduction at all, I guess? Because I know you guys are obviously collecting records probably since we were even teenagers.
We started collecting
You've always had that kind of, that side of it.
I think we both have the same story, if you want to tell.
Yeah, I'm just curious about how it actually started with the DJ stuff.
So we have a buddy, Kyle Flowers, and we always tell him this too. He's kind of like
he's our
Sherpa.
Yeah,
it really is the reason.
But it was sauced way back in the day. They him and some friends. I don't think they knew the owners, but they had a back room, and they were like, it was on a Saturday night, and they were playing records. Kind of like having a little party in the back.
Yeah, I remember that. I think I remember that.
And some of the records they were playing, I was like, oh, I've got that one. You know, it was like either like a Tori Moi record or Caribou. I'm like, whoa! It's just like, going up and chatting with them, like, this is great. Like, I've got this record, or this is cool. Not even really knowing like what the heck they were doing as far as like with turntables.
But were they DJing, or were they just like, okay?
They were DJing.
So I was just thinking it was like, because they have like some places even today you can go to a coffee shop or a bar, and it's like their vinyl night, and you can bring your own vinyl thing.
They were DJing, so they had the two turntables and the mixer.
And so you were just started, and then you started watching them.
Yeah, and then but he was like, hey, we're playing at this place. Yeah. I forgot what it's lost on me, but he's like, we're gonna be up there tomorrow. If you want to bring some records.
Yeah.
And I'll come hop on and play some. We were like, yeah, we'll bring some. Like,
cool.
Also, it's like not even knowing like hopping on what, like
you're like, we don't
know like the functionality of like
yeah,
it's like we know what the turntables are, but what's this thing called in the middle? Like this mixer, how is it used? You see it in movies, or like you've seen like bands like Incubus or whatever had a DJ, but like also what the hell was he doing?
DJ for sure, dude.
It's just like it was always a component of music that we grew up listening to. Like, had no idea what that guy's setup was doing.
So what? Do you not remember what year this was? I mean, it must have been
probably 2012.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because you guys have been doing it for over 10
years.
Okay, so it's been. So you guys, I guess, seriously started in around 2015.
I'd say probably about 2013, 2014. I think this year is our 10th year, or maybe 10 or 11.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, but this was like leading up to that actually getting started.
And just we had then that was like really fun, and
Yeah.
and then they would have there's
some shows at the farmers market. That
Yeah.
kind of
just
hopped on again, not knowing really like.
So that's kind of interesting. I guess that's kind of because one of my I have another question about getting started, but like
it kind of just fell backwards into a lot of gigs, and we got really lucky, and it's,
we had records that because this is before like digital stuff was really like super accessible.
Spotify was
so, but we had already collected like tons of like records as far as like what were dance records back then, but also like we liked some old funk and disco records too. So we kind of had like this full range.
We already had like a full collection that could be DJ.
It's like
we were already ready.
You were already
and we had listened to these records a ton. So it's like so it's not like I'm gonna go out and get some records and then learn how to play. It's like we'd already knew these records like from front to back.
That's what I was thinking about earlier whenever we were talking about listening or playing music and stuff. It's like for one thing I always, especially being like because like I said, I'm pretty proficient as far as a producer, right? A music producer as far as like creating and recording music. And I've always known that one thing to be really good at that, it's like you have to listen to a lot of music. Just listen.
100%.
It's like, but it's obviously going to be very similar when you're live DJing and doing that.
Oh
way.
man,
it's
DJ, finding what you would like to play or add to your.
But I mean, not even just like listening to it to pay attention to it almost, but just listening to it and just taking it in to where it's like you're internalizing this stuff like so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's
like I think because that's going to inform your decisions whenever you're creating it later.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, oh, I remember hearing this one thing, and it's like I want to try to do that or something.
100%. Like say, like, oh, I'd like to use this part and mix in this song right here and see if that works.
So I think that
being able to actually.
I think
take it and try it.
I definitely think that with any kind of playing music, whether it's an instrument, but obviously with DJs too, it's like the more you do it, and it's like the more it's like you want it to become very intuitive and very like to where it's like you don't even think about it. It's like you don't even make decisions.
There's
too much going on.
Yeah, exactly. But it takes the years and years of practice to get to that point.
Yeah, to get to that point where you actually know you're in that.
You can't at a certain point you can't overthink it when you're up there because it's like you're on to the next track.
You don't have time to
and
think.
You can't or it's just like everything needs to flow. And like it's just knowing your songs really informs how you play too, because you're like it makes the process easier. So you can kind of go from point A to point B. And
very
not,
easily.
It just the idea is like you don't want to overthink it up there because again most of the time you're up there for 3-4 hours and depending on the gig, it's just like no one wants to spend that entire time stressing out about like not knowing what they're gonna play next or it's just it should be
in high stakes situations. It's like I always say, like there was an analogy I made up, probably didn't. As a DJ, you live and die in like 3-minute increments, which is like you're only as good as your previous song.
Right.
And what are you going to play next and how you're going to mix that, because you're really taking the audience for a ride and a journey. So it's like it has to flow.
Yeah.
And each song needs to flow into the other one. If you really like to be good at your job, just try to do as well as possible, like sculpting that mix. And it's like, but if you have a great song that's the crowd is just going crazy over, and you just fall flat, or you just
you
drop the ball. You just drop the ball, and it might take you 15 minutes or something to build that energy. But
get their trust back.
That's interesting for sure. It's definitely something that's like more. So, like I said, that's why I love doing this, because like I just learned something, like so many similarities to other. Like I said, I think it's very similar to comedy in a lot of ways.
Because I mean, you're within, let's just say comedy. It's
because
like
if you think about each song is a different joke,
Yeah, and how maybe that song and or joke will play in like small rooms, medium rooms, large rooms.
You have to. So I guess that's a kind of a question I could ask is like about like the size of the room and the audience. It's like, you're making decisions on what to play all the time, but like, do you kind of know, like, if it's, I guess it's probably kind of an easy thing to figure out. It's like if you're in a giant room with a ton of people that are there to dance, you know what to play for that. But it's like if you're playing a opening at like Mint Apparel or something, you're gonna play some different things,
Yeah, but
depending on the audience.
With that kind of situation, we'll play more just a kind of groovy, vibey, atmospheric music that's like fun and just kind of bouncy. But when you're dealing with like
a huge
people that are there to dance,
like a rave type atmosphere.
Yeah, it's like it's
if you're opening up for somebody, like we opened up for Cut Copy a while ago, or a long time ago. But it's just like they're there obviously because it's like it's.
But it's like you kind of know.
But it's you're not going to be doing as much experimentation,
right.
And
you're
you're going to have it kind of pretty tight with what you're playing, and everything's going to kind of be on a high euphoric kind of swing. Whereas like if you're the lighting in a club is like so if it's dark. That's when you're like, oh, this is kind of something where I could be a little bit moodier, be a little bit more experimental with some of the tracks, play some stuff that's a little bit more left field, just the size of the room.
I think it's because that's obviously something I think that every kind of performer should think about whether or not they do is like you have to pay attention to the audience, and it's like if you're paying attention to the audience, then that's going to inform your decisions and what kind of jokes you tell, or as far as even music or how you perform a song or something like that. But obviously, playing a certain type of music
it lets you know how good of a job you're doing in that moment.
Yeah, I think, but
it's kind of real time feedback.
I think it's hard. I think that obviously it takes a while for any kind of performer to get to a point where they can pay attention to the audience, because if you're still just worried about what you're doing. It's hard to like move your attention.
Your hand,
to that.
like your eyes, like probably the bass player. Your eyes are on the neck of your bass. Just trying to see if
I think that's. But obviously that comes. But it's just interesting to think about what you guys do. So kind of going back to the beginning of the early days, but you guys had started not as a duo, but kind of with a third person. As Carte Blanche with your friend Chitty.
Yeah, my buddy David Chitwood. Yeah. That's how we started DJing as like a trio.
That was like the first iteration of you guys.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all had like a love of just like records and dance music, and we all started dancing. We had a really good time playing with each other.
Yeah.
So
he had started a lot.
Yeah, he'd
been doing it like
back at the
Electro Lounge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was in there,
and even then, seeing those DJs at Electro Lounge, like, I don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, what is this? What
is
me
to shake my ass?
That was such a fun place. I was in there recently. I'll go in there. Not a ton. I don't eat there ever, but like S&B's burger joint.
Right.
I'll pick up DoorDash from there, and I was in there the other day, and I was just looking around, and I was like, man, like the bar is still in the same place.
That's
it's
hilarious.
like there's so many parts of it that are the same in some ways.
They had the pool table in that green room in the back.
Yeah. It was such a weird, seedy
and
place.
And it's an office building.
Yeah.
It's in the parking lot of a Best Buy.
But like, I don't know. I still think about those days a lot, like in that club.
That was the best. So many good.
Talk about it's like something that's informed. Our it's like had no even interest in knowing or what being a DJ, but it's like, but you knew like this is dance music.
That's the atmosphere you wanted to be in.
I like being here.
No interest in trying to recreate it, but this is the place to be.
Exactly.
You want to talk to girls, you want to dance and like have a good time.
It was just a cool vibe. I don't know, but that place in particular, it was kind of like
it was a quote unquote where you would call back in the day. You call us hipsters.
Yeah.
And that was just like a hipster hangout.
Mm-hmm.
That's where
I definitely miss that place in particular. It's like, I don't know, I'm glad the S&B's is what it is today.
Sure.
but I do wish that it could maybe return somehow. But anyway,
for one night only.
Anyway, so I wanted to bring that up because that was kind of before you guys had. So whatever happened with that, you just kind of moved apart.
We just kind of like, I think Chitty just wanted to take a step back from DJing and focus on other things.
Right.
And we still wanted to do it a lot more than he did. He just didn't have time for it.
Right.
So we just kind of branched off and started doing our own thing. And that's how we kind of recoined it ourselves as the Robinson Brothers, which is not very creative, but I was like, well, that's our last name, and it seems very clean, and
well, it makes sense.
It's not embarrassing to tell somebody.
Yeah,
it's like, you know.
Yeah, it's like, but I think it's obviously because people see you guys, and it's like, oh, those are the DJ twins. If you guys didn't call yourselves the Robinson Brothers, they were going to call you the DJ twins.
Yeah, it's arguably a better name than DJ
exactly.
Twins.
So, it's like, it kind of like leans into it somewhat. You guys
absolutely.
Being twins. So.
Yeah, we liked it. It was clean. It just like kind of resonated.
Sounds like an old 60s.
Yeah,
like
cool.
It kind of sounds like, the Brothers Johnson, you know, or something like that.
I like it. So anyways, so okay, I have a question about kind of the equipment, I guess. And I guess, so like, say, not that I want to, but like if I wanted to start DJing, or if someone wanted to, what would you suggest someone like pick up? Obviously a record collection and a understanding of that collection.
Well, it depends what you want. Yeah, we started playing vinyl.
Yeah, I guess these days you don't necessarily need a vinyl.
Yeah.
It was more
expensive.
Yeah. The actual genesis of it, we already had records, and it was more or less just getting nice turntables, which were the turntable standard for a DJ would be a Technics 1200, which you can usually get them. I mean, they're a lot more expensive now, but found a couple of those $300 or so refurbished at guest room, and
it's
then,
like you can probably find some older ones that are been used.
Yeah, but like really one in pretty decent condition, you could probably go for about $1,000 now. But
if you were starting out, it's like, and that's kind of one of the things. It's like these smaller controllers, like kind of all-in-ones, have democratized DJing. Where it's like, I would just say it's like, it's too accessible.
It's too accessible.
But I mean,
it's too accessible.
But that's how everything is now. It's like if you want to,
if you want to be guitars,
you can go to Target and buy a podcasting setup.
Right.
Fair enough.
So it's like anybody could, but I don't know. That's just the way the world is, I guess now.
But we've kind of always. It took us a while before we kind of really saved up for like a digital set. So we got these things called XDJs by Pioneer, and then we had like a Pioneer mixer, and then kind of slowly upgraded stuff, and so now we just we use CDJs, which are like the club standard. Which
now you guys have the actual professional stuff. That's, but
I'd say a setup. It's hard for me to answer that question. Essentially, if whoever wants to get into it can spend as much as.
I say get something like one of the all-in-ones and just see if you like it.
See if you like it.
So some people it's just like, just need to like try it out for a little bit, and you might see like, it's just not for me.
That's better than you. How much are those like small like little kit things?
I mean like probably like a
couple $100 or something.
Maybe $400, $500.
Yeah, so
maybe
it's
even
like
less than that.
If you spend, you spend like a small, a little. If you have that kind of budget,
and
then
you hook it up to your laptop too, so
it'd be like the same.
Easy.
The analogy for an instrument would be like getting like a Squire.
Yeah, the little kits.
Like the little Squire with the little amp combo. It's like, you're out $300, see if you like it, instead of going out and buying the Jazzmaster, right out the gate.
Yeah.
Which, like, right now we play, like, our equipment itself, it's very top of the line. I mean, like, industry standard.
And you have to, as far as what you guys are doing.
Which is what I like to play on. I want it to sound good and it feels good. And just,
but yeah, speaking of which,
old guys just have, like, they like their nice toys.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is like after doing it, you guys are obviously professional DJs, so it's like you're gonna have professional stuff.
Yeah,
but
it took a while to get it though, or just to kind of build up the. But but
I think that's just like everybody. And like you said, you start out with some more affordable stuff in the early days and slowly upgrade it.
Well, but then we started out with vinyl. Yeah, and that was like, I mean, that's still not cheap. It was cheaper than dropping the $2-3 on the digital players, but so you could spend like $20 here, $20 there, $20 on records,
right?
Because we already had the players, and so that was the most affordable. And then at a certain point, I had too many rare records that I didn't want to keep bringing out.
Yeah, so because they could be damaged possibly.
Absolutely, or just like
transporting.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just like heavy, man.
So now, I assume now you have to take those. Especially the rare records that you digitize them, and then you put them on your hard drive and take them.
Some of the old ones will still have like a little vinyl crackle whenever you play them digitally, but which is actually kind of cool though.
Yeah, it has that authentic feel.
Absolutely.
That's great. Yeah, I didn't even think about it just being all digital now.
Oh yeah.
Not really having to actual spin vinyl as much.
Right.
Do you ever do it still? for any reason?
Occasionally. I mean, I'd have to.
Yeah, maybe at the house.
I don't really have a setup anymore.
Right.
We haven't lived with each other in a while,
Yeah.
so. But there's been some opportunities, like I've mixed some records, but it's been a minute.
It's nice to try to, if you do get an opportunity, it's a skill set.
Yeah,
that you have
it's like
to,
you don't really want to forget how to do it.
Yeah, because again, that informs.
You do get rusty.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
informs how you play on your digital players too, because it's like there's a lot of people who just maybe learn how to play on the digital. It's like you don't have that touch and feel of like the records where it's like you're, trying to, beat match with a turntable, whereas like a digital player will tell you like, hey, this is what the BPM is, or sync up. So it's like you learn this hands-on feel, and like, oh no, if you mess up, you're gonna drag a needle across the record, and it's gonna be amplified over speakers. So it's like you learn how to.
It's like unplugging your amp and like feedback. It's like the worst feedback ever.
Yeah, and you learn how to be kind of careful and like methodical with how you're playing with the records, because it is still such a sensitive way to send a huge signal over speakers. It's still mind-boggling if you just think about it.
A diamond-tipped needle going into like grooves, which you've ever seen. Look up what the grooves of a record looks like. You're like, how did somebody invent this?
Yeah.
This is just wild to me.
That's crazy. I don't know, but yeah, okay. So
Evergreen technology.
That's awesome. I was just curious about I'm always curious about the equipment. It's just like
you're
or even
gearhead.
like how to
You
even
like stuff like that.
what the process even is, which we probably don't have time to get into now.
Boring, man.
Yeah, I mean,
this
but
is the
just
part where everyone, if
part two.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just like I'll have to talk to you guys more about that sometime. But anyways, so one thing I wanted to bring up, you mentioned it earlier, but I guess this is kind of one of your. I mean, I don't know if you call it like a big break, but you guys opened for Cut Copy in 2017.
Yeah, that was the first kind of big group that we've ever played with. That was wild. It was at the Jones Assembly.
Yeah.
Because we were the resident DJs there.
Okay, at that time.
So they had asked us to play and open, and obviously we love Cut Copy, so we jumped at the opportunity.
That's an old school like group.
It was crazy. It was iconic, and so that was just like I floored. So that was good. We've opened up for some pretty big groups since then.
Yeah. I definitely wanted to bring that up.
But that one was just kind of like, wow.
That's
we're doing something.
Especially because, I mean, that for that and just
being recognized.
It being Cut Copy, and it's like somebody that's like we idolized when we were teenagers.
Right. Yeah, just being recognized for your talents and being offered to like say, hey, I think you guys would be a good fit. Would you guys want to do that? Really?
It's like because obviously they were probably a huge influence on, so it's like it made sense why
I have so many Cut Copy 12-inch like just remixes and stuff, and just like cool. Just talk about just dance music itself is iconic.
I love that group.
Yeah, absolutely. So
many good songs. So I guess that was because you guys were the resident DJs at the Jones Assembly, but you guys also were, or a few of the places that you guys were regulars at was the Bunker Club, the Pump, and Ponyboy.
Yep, Ponyboy mostly.
So that's what. But so what was what was the first one of those three? I guess
Pump.
The Pump.
Pump was the first. They let us kind of like we are friends.
And because those are all in the same like block.
Right. So
on 23rd Street.
Yeah, Haley. Over at the Pump, rest in peace.
The bar.
The bar.
Yeah.
She's very much alive.
Like, wait, what? Okay,
But
I guess
she kind of gave us an opportunity, and so we got to play there a bunch, and we got to get really good. Yeah. It was an opportunity to get really good because we got a lot of like reps or hours, and they really took a chance on us and let us just really do our thing. And so we actually got a lot of things stemmed from there, other opportunities to play certain things. From people just seeing us because it was just like such a hopping spot there on the weekends.
Really popular place.
Oh yeah, so people would see us. We'd be playing like a Friday night or Saturday night, and people would see us and they would say, "Hey, would you mind? Would you like to do this?"
Yeah.
Well, and what we were talking about before we started this was like getting your sound system.
Oh, because you guys
that's the thing. It's like
we had our mobile rig, so we
a lot of places don't have speakers, and so it's like that makes you more marketable.
Or other DJs don't have like a full sound system to bring out, so that was kind of an edge. But actually, even back then, there were maybe 2 other DJs. Yeah. Surprisingly, they were like they were all. Most of the DJs were in Bricktown. We were the only ones that were kind of really playing what we were
Yeah, like doing other things that because obviously you probably get paid a lot of money to play in Bricktown, but it's like you want to.
But you're playing to like a certain like top 40
Yeah,
crowd.
exactly. But it's like that's
just what you want to do. That's
right.
what you do for a living.
That's the thing. I equate it. I could equate it to like playing in a cover band, versus playing original music. Because like
the cover band's gonna whatever the bar is gonna book you, like they're gonna pay you a flat like, $800 or whatever to play there,
which is pretty good money. But it's like for me personally, it's like I would hate that, and I want to play original music, so I'm stuck playing at the Blue Note and the Speakeasy.
But you're having a good ass time doing it.
But I'm not having more fun doing that. Yeah. Probably not getting paid shit, but so it's like probably similar to what you guys.
Yeah, you
guys are more of like an original, different.
Yeah, eclectic, more eclectic type, and kind of a different, more.
But it seems like
by the beat of our own drum.
Yeah, it seems like it worked out. Absolutely. Because people
we didn't stray. We play our own stuff. We play what we think is good, and what our kind of vision for.
Yeah, we didn't waver on.
We just never
wanted to,
Right.
Absolutely, we would never play. We would never play whatever was current. If we didn't know, we just was not our thing. It's like because we both have day jobs. I've worked full time since I was. 18 years old, so it's like this DJing is fun for me.
It's just a hobby kind of.
So it's like if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it how I want to do it because no one wants to feel like they're at another job.
Right. Yeah.
This shit I don't want.
Unless because it's like I said, there's definitely
people who are playing at Bricktown and or weddings and stuff like that.
Right.
We've played a few weddings in our time, but it feels like a job, and that's just like not our thing. I'm not trying to play father-daughter dances.
But then of course so you guys were at the Pump, and then probably led to like playing at the Bunker because they both owned both of those. But then Ponyboy was a big one.
So that was an interesting story.
Yeah.
So
that was probably one of the biggest things.
The biggest break.
About and just as far as how the city goes, like there wasn't a club in the city that was really kind of
like a dance
pre-programming like that
kind of,
and that was like a Friday, Saturday, no cover, and like also like just letting us experiment up there. But and I think a lot of places stemmed off of what they were doing. So that's why you see a lot more like restaurants or just like like clubs kind of like programming DJs. It's like there wasn't really anything like that, and that was just kind of the only one. And we were able to kind of break it wide open.
We just got Rachel Cope. She she was the operator of Ponyboy for a while, and I remember being at the mall just randomly, and I get a call from just a random number. I mean, Rachel.
Yeah.
And she'd seen us around.
Yeah, probably like I said, Pump. You're like right over down the street for every other Friday night.
She had asked me she wanted to do some DJing.
Yeah.
At Ponyboy, this place, and I don't even think I'd been there
so
yet.
So that would probably and it probably just opened, or
I think it was in 2016. I think. So they had no parties and stuff at all at that time, and so I was like every Friday and Saturday. It seemed like a big commitment. But we talked it over, like let's do it. Yeah. Which is one of the coolest decisions we've ever made because we really put time in curating that scene, and and it became probably the biggest party Friday and Saturday night anywhere in the city. That just by word of mouth, and
we outfitted that place with our sound system.
We built that
so she had
system.
Some speakers, but like that's another thing where we're like, oh, this is a space where we're gonna curate and kind of like do a 360 with speakers, and kind of fill the room up how we want to fill it up, and not necessarily I mean, she had some decent infrastructure in there, but like that was kind of like where we actually like brought our rig up there and kind of permanently put it in there, for the a year before I think that it changed hands, and then
that's how we
outfitted it with some other stuff.
But that's how we cut our teeth,
Yeah,
we played parties
Very
there,
DIY, just hands on, even down to like I said.
I think our party was probably called DIY disco up there.
Yeah,
but no, we played up there, man. Friday and Saturday, we brought other DJs in, but at that time there wasn't a lot to pick from. And man, we played for 5+ years. I mean, and we built it to a huge party, and to the point where it's kind of a shell of itself now.
Yeah.
Just COVID. After COVID, it just really never really regained. The whole scene kind of splintered, or just we played a certain style up there, really eclectic that people had known to really appreciate.
And people would go there and they knew what to expect.
Absolutely. And
Not
so
after every
booking
Friday and Saturday.
random DJs,
right.
or they have their own set of rotating DJs. They all kind of play different types of music. It's hard to get a crowd, and so it kind of suffered from that. But it's funny, though. I still hear people that will stop me randomly and be like, "Oh God, I remember those nights. Those parties were amazing." It's like, dude, I'm telling you, from what I remember,
it informed a lot of people's Saturday nights.
Right?
Like, what they're like, "Hey, this is what
they
we're
already
do."
It's like that's because especially if they didn't want to go to Bricktown and deal with that, everything that has to do with Bricktown.
Yeah, they wanted to hear
it's like, but it's like a different thing to do, and it's unique, and it was
hear some
like
weird, crazy ass tunes, like some crazy afro next to some weird like techno, backed by some kind of like bigger underground kind of disco tracks. I mean, we just kind of played everything. We made everything flow together, and people were just like, people would tell us, it's like they would be getting ready to leave. It's like, well, wait for the next one.
Yeah,
the next one was insane, and so we'll leave after this. Like, well, if this next one's not, and then they'd be there the whole night. They'd be there the whole night.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's a great story too. So I remember I definitely was there for, a few nights at least, not a ton, but I remember those days for sure.
That was wild times.
But yeah, it's a good. It just brought up a memory. When back, we talked about the Electro Lounge before, but also Robotic Wednesdays way back. And it's like it seems like a similar thing almost, like from some reason.
Yeah,
like
that was
kind of
its
big,
own huge party in its own right, for sure. And
it's like kind of builds its own following and like kind of has a.
And that's kind of interesting that like that whole type of music now, that electro clash type of stuff.
You guys remember Sidecar?
Yeah.
And like that was kind of another one. It was just like very, raw kind of electro kind of sound in this tiny little space, and they would just pack a DJ in the back. And but you go out in.
I feel like we were going to that Sidecar, Electro Lounge, Robotic, and it's like we didn't know what it actually was.
No, we knew it was a party.
Yeah, but it's like you didn't know how important it was,
or how much it was informing what you would want to do, like creatively on your own terms.
But then you guys ended up doing that yourself. Even,
just by random happenstance. Like it was a series of events. Like had we not met our buddy Kyle, or just introduce ourselves for the first time,
right?
None of this, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy.
This episode of Rhythm and Wit was brought to you by Campbell & Son Electric, Oklahoma City's trusted one-truck electrical contractor with over 20 years of experience in the field. Whether it's upgrading your home's electrical service, troubleshooting issues, or tackling small commercial projects, Campbell & Son Electric delivers top-notch work with care and attention you'd expect from a family business. Servicing areas like Del City, Edmond, Yukon, Mustang, and beyond, they're your go-to for reliable expert service. Need help with your next project? Visit CampbellandSonElectric.com today and get it done right the first time. Campbell & Son Electric, brightening Oklahoma, one wire at a time.
So I guess I have a few more things we can wrap up on the DJ, but because then after that, I think you guys had a kind of a little show, or I guess I don't know what you would call it, a beat connection at the Speakeasy.
Yeah. So that was something fun because
was that more recent, like post-COVID?
That was within the past year.
Yeah, okay. Because I hadn't really talked to you. I just knew that you guys were doing that.
Yeah, that was a monthly residency we had up there at Speakeasy for about a year, where it's like we've played so much and we've done as just like kind of non professional touring DJs.
Right.
We've done about as much as one could do, and we thought it'd be fun to have a night where we would find other DJs that maybe don't get to play very often, or don't get put on at other spots because for whatever reason that we liked their type of music or their aesthetic.
Still, again, so goes to that kind of different type of music, not the Bricktown club DJs.
So kind of turned our whatever name we had and just that night into more of like a mentorship in a way that just like we would open up. We would let them have the headliner spot.
Opportunities.
We would let them have like the headliner spot, and then maybe we would play 45 minutes after, and then we would all just kind of go back to back at the end. And that was really fun. I met a lot of great people that I'm still friends with, just kind of doing that.
especially similar in that same field of DJ and
Absolutely
meeting more. And they were all like local people too.
Yeah, just you know, oh, I don't know how many. Yeah, we had about 12 of them, but
Yeah.
just
So that was about a year you guys did that.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And then there's a newer place. I guess it's called like the Farmers Market.
Palo Santo.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
I was like, what's the district called? Do they have
Farmers
a name?
Market.
Okay, Farmers Market District. Palo Santo.
Yeah.
I haven't ever been there, but I've seen it.
That's a cool spot. Yeah. So we play up there. Not so much anymore, but we played up
Right.
there really regularly.
Yeah.
That's just like a really cool cocktail bar. They
Yeah.
got it. Their DJ booth is like above the bar, which is really cool. I mean,
Kinda
it's like one of those
different.
things you're kind of away from the indie
Yeah.
requests.
Right.
But it's just kind of you get to oversee like the whole bar, and it's more or less just we play like kind of chill atmospheric music,
Okay.
kind of groovy stuff.
Going back to like, hey, what's the space that you're playing in? It's just like it's kind of like
But they're not all out there dancing.
No,
and,
but you still want to like play more
But yeah,
open
it's still
open
fun.
tunes and things that kind of can be a little bit more melodic and it can add this kind of atmosphere, but that you still enjoy playing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not like you're forcing yourself to like, you know, play some of this stuff, but like again, gives you a little freedom to experiment in that space and with some of those textures and maybe more real instrumentation and you know, less like electronic heavy driven stuff.
Right. You can kind of just see what else you can do with what you do. That's cool. Yeah, I was curious about that because I like I said, I'd never made it out to those sets, but I don't know. I've never even been to that place.
Yeah.
So I was curious. And then there's another one I wanted to bring up. I think it's called Ecstatic Dance.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Can you talk about it?
There's an interesting concept from what I looked up.
So there's
anyways.
nationwide. There's ecstatic dances. I think in every city. Well, not every city, but so Oklahoma we have a
cities.
chapter.
Right.
And a buddy of ours who's kind of like what's his name again? Ben. Yeah. So he reached out to us because he's kind of like the organizer, but he kind of shepherds
part of the organization.
Yeah, and so
chapter or whatever.
Yeah, it's a there's no talking on
sober dance party.
It's a sober dance party.
That's all I was curious about was this just sober and just
no
kind of the pure music.
Yeah, and they tell
1000%.
everybody at the very beginning. They kind of do some warm up moves like, hey, this is kind of like get everyone kind of like for your podcast, you know, like hey, let's all talk a little bit and get used to being on the microphone. We're just like, hey, let's all practice some different moves or here, like you know, they would orient them at the very beginning. But then they would tell them, like, hey, if you're going to have a conversation, just take it off the dance floor. No phones, so no one's taking any pictures of you. So like you're just able to be. And for a DJ to have kind of
open
that kind of openness, where it's like it's just like you can't really even play a wrong song because it's just like everyone's just there to really feel it. But you can really
talk about feeling music. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Feed off that energy, and it's one of the more special parties.
Yeah.
In the city, especially for someone who's getting to play to it, but I can imagine it's pretty fun when you're out there dancing too.
Yeah, I thought it was fascinating because it was like I said the soberness. Like I'm sober. I haven't drank in almost 3 years.
Right on.
So it's like an interesting thing for me to like when I go out and it's like I don't know. It's like I like to see it. Places where it's like you can go and not have to drink, or it's like it's not the point of being there. It's like with stuff. That's why I love going to comedy shows or music. I mean, even it's like you're there to watch a band or see a comedian, and it's like obviously you can drink if you want to, but it's like that's not the reason
getting
why
to
people are
experience
there.
it, like full, just like unfogged brain.
Yeah,
just like
that's
actually the moment.
That's what I love. I mean, I love obviously. Being sober in general because it's like you're actually present in whatever you're
most
doing.
Things in your life.
But it's like I think it's good, but it's great to see people like this group that's encouraging that and kind of having that. And for people that don't drink that want to do something that's like maybe they want to go to a club, but it's like maybe they're an alcoholic or a recovering alcoholic and they don't want to go to clubs because they don't want to be around alcohol.
It's also a party that I think it starts at 7 and 9.
So it's earlier.
Early, man. That's what we really don't play. very much.
Yeah, because of the late.
Yeah, just we're 39 years old this year, and so just kind of
more selective with what we play or where we play.
Right.
So
for sure. That's why it's like I'm feeling it too for sure. It's like harder for me to go to see live music these days because it's like I don't want to be out there till midnight.
It's brutal.
Especially if you go to a show and it starts at like 9 p.m. and
there's
goes
like 5 bands.
Yeah, it's like it's all night. It's like, man, I don't have the energy for that these days. So
I get
it's
one a month.
Tough. Yeah. It's like I want to. There's all kinds of shows every month that it's like, man, I want to go to that, but it's like I just don't have the.
Especially if it's on like a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Remember how many times we would drive down to Dallas to go see bands and drive home the same night? Not even think about it.
I would be more inclined to do something like that than like just go to like the Speakeasy.
I'm not driving home the same night.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like going to like a big show. To see somebody really big.
Sure.
But it's like that's a little bit more
experiential.
Yeah, it's like I'm just talking about like local bands that I want to see. It's like most of it's like my friends even.
Could you guys play at 6 p.m.?
Yeah, exactly. But that's why I love comedy because it's like comedy starts at like 7, it's done by 9:30.
The best.
Or no, if it starts at 7, it'll be over by 8:30.
Better. Even better.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like it never goes off past an hour.
I'll stay the whole time.
Yeah, it's great. So, but anyways, okay, a couple more things. Okay, so one big thing I guess you guys just did was this Momentous Festival. Was that last month?
That was last month. I think it was in
Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas. It was like late. I can't even remember the dates now, but
anyways.
No, it was that was it's like a big electronic music festival that out in Bentonville.
Yeah.
It's at this place called The Momentary, which is like their version of like the Oklahoma Contemporary. It's huge,
like
it's
an
expansive
art gallery type.
It's like
thing.
a huge, expansive art experience. Yeah. Like different buildings and always stuff going on, but they've got like an electronic music festival. And we know some people out there from this club called Backroom Social Club, and they just had thrown our names around, and so we'd gotten approached to play up there.
This year.
Huge opportunity. I mean, there was like I think one of the headliners. One of the headliners that year was Tycho, which is one of our favorite bands, and so I just went up there and played that. It was a great set, and met a lot of cool people, and probably do it again next year.
Yeah, that's
doing
cool.
stuff like that now.
That's
like
a more
that's up our speed.
Yeah,
so
it's like kind of a big deal. It's like a trip too. You're going out there playing for a couple of nights.
100%. And so doing something like that gains a lot more like value in my life than playing every weekend.
Yeah, having like a residency.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I thought was really cool. And
that was great.
And also last month you guys opened for the Crystal Method and Paul Oakenfold.
Yeah, Paul Oakenfold. Yeah, that was awesome.
That here in the city?
That was at Tower.
Yeah.
That was the last real gig we had.
Yeah.
We got asked just randomly by the booker up there, Allie, and just jumped at the idea.
Yeah.
That was incredible. I mean, it's just like being able to open up for like actual like electronic acts who are huge in their own rights, and man, that was probably we were playing from like 8 to 9, and we just were like, there'll be some people there.
Yeah,
dude, the place was packed. It looked like it was sold out by the time we walked. It was like insane. It was crazy, but we had actually practiced a set.
Yeah,
we had practiced our hours, so we were ready.
That's awesome.
Which I'm glad we did because that would have been.
You definitely didn't. That's one of those where it's like you don't want to mess up.
Oh, no, you just don't want to leave it up to chance.
Yeah, exactly.
Just you again, like going back to where you stall. You're like, I don't know this. I think this song will work, but you just don't have enough time to really double check it, or just, and then it just maybe it falls flat. And it's like a scenario where it's just like
you just want to run through it and do a little rehearsal, make sure everything is gonna work how you want it to work.
And then it's also timing it out too. So it's like. You've got an hour. It's
so
like
you know exactly how many songs you can play in that time.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it was great. Reception was great.
What do you think? What is that one, or I guess playing at Momentous? Which one of those was like the bigger crowds?
Bigger crowds would probably be Momentous, but like there was a lot of different stages.
Right.
Playing for
I
mean there's probably several hundred people at the Tower show, and that was concentrated. I mean that's just like that many eyes looking at
you. That's probably the most people we've. Outside of some of the stuff at the Jones Assembly,
right?
But having that many people look at
you,
where they're watching you for a straight hour and just looking straight ahead,
like That's crazy.
That's
awesome. Yeah, that's another reason why. I mean, I saw you guys post about those two things in the past month. I was like, man, you guys are doing some really, really cool things.
Yeah, that's kind of the stuff we want to do these days. I mean, actually, we're, playing as long as we have, it's given us opportunities to be able to be asked to do things like that, and those just are a lot more important to us. And so it's really great to be able to be still kind of in the mix doing fun stuff.
Okay, so I can kind of get to the kind of last kind of little section I have, but I did want to talk a little bit about the records and stuff like that. Even though it's like you guys aren't, I mean, it's still a big part of your, what is it? What you
repertoire.
do. Yeah, so
identity.
You still have to kind of do it, even though it's like you don't have to.
We don't have to, but I love to.
But yeah, it's a part of who you are too. But it's like, so anyways, the records. How many do you think you have? If you had to even ballpark, obviously you probably might not know exactly.
2,500?
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's more than that.
Maybe more than that.
Damn.
Maybe 3,000.
Yeah.
Something like that. But
that's insane.
It's hard to.
Yeah.
I know that it's several IKEA bookshelves.
Do you guys have them like organized?
No. I wish. No.
You're not like
that is. I wish I was like John Cusack in High Fidelity. I knew exactly what you were gonna say.
I couldn't think of
chronological, autobiographical. No.
But you probably have more than even he had. I mean, I don't know. In that movie.
Yeah, I don't know. But no, it's.
Did you guys watch that remake of it?
I never did.
It was pretty damn good.
Really?
I liked it a lot.
I'm a purist, dude. I like.
No,
purist.
but I mean, I was wary of it, obviously. But I love, what's her name, Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah,
she's amazing. So she did a great job.
I heard good things about it. I just haven't, man.
It's good. I like the show. I wish it got canceled after one season, but I wish it had continued, because it was like all the characters were like, it was the same characters, but they were kind of like slightly different,
taking different forms.
Yeah,
like adapted.
But the characters in the show, I just loved that all the characters, and it's like, when you watch a show, it's like you just fall in love with the cast, and it's like you want to continue to see them.
Yeah.
More. I don't know. I just thought of that.
No, we have a lot of records, man. Just been collecting. Every time we still go out of town, we still go to the record stores. We go to New York and Chicago quite a bit.
Yeah, kind of dig through.
Always come home with something.
So what are some of your favorite record stores, I guess, maybe locally? Are there any
locally, Gestrum, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, there's
fantastic.
Not a ton, but I guess, is there any kind of...
My favorite record store is Discogs.com.
Yeah.
That's where... But no, out of town. I mean, if it's in Chicago, the best record store out there is called Gramophone, which is geared strictly towards dance music.
Okay.
Huge collection. I mean, it's crazy. You could spend hours there. And then I'd say New York City probably be Superior Elevation, which is like the big record store out there, which they kind of have a little bit of everything. They got great dance music. They've got kind of older tunes, but they deal in a lot of rarities and oddities, which is kind of like what we're geared towards.
So you always want to try to find those.
Yeah, great record store, Superior Elevation.
For
so
sure.
That's out in, I think, Brooklyn, Williamsburg.
Okay. Yeah, and then speaking of like rare records, do you have any like prized possessions? So like, which ones are like your favorites, or most interesting or unique records that you've come across?
Well, there is a few. There is like, try to think of the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an easy question to answer.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting question. Depending, I'm trying to picture something in my head. It'd be weird. I'd just be saying names and but like they're not really well known. But
there's records that have had to travel long distances.
Right.
Like,
that's kind of because you guys talked about like, or I remember you in your posts about like the African.
Yeah, so there's like a record called like Bill Loco. It's like a 12-inch called Nimbolo, and that's like a really rare 12-inch of a really incredible, like, I think it's like an Ivory Coast type of boogie jam. So that's like one that's like one of my prized possessions. I love that. And so then I've got some other, like Brenda and the Big Dudes. There's Cool Spots, which is like a full length. It's like a South African type of funk group, and specifically the version I have has this one song called Love Action, which is just like an incredible track. So yeah, there's just like everything's there's so many records that have just like little different stories of why I have that, or then there's like 7 inches and stuff that are like some really prized possessions. And so
Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah. No, it's kind of hard. I'm just trying to go through the Rolodex of like what would be interesting to say.
I don't know. I'm sure there is probably some, like you said, interesting.
My favorite thing is like
we
used to just have people over and we'd say just go dig through them and just pick something out and we'd play it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I guess last few, little thing. What are you currently listening to? Is there like any kind of, I don't know, interesting like genres you've gotten into lately?
Psych trance, which is like a weird type of kind of genre adjacent to like trance and techno that was kind of really popular in like the early 2000s. Okay. And so we're kind of revisiting some old records and kind of digging and looking for that different type of stuff. Yeah. But that's kind of some electronic music that I'm into. And just traditional techno. Yeah. Is always kind of something we're always digging and finding. Kind of some percussive tribal music is always kind of something we're always looking for. Drum tracks and stuff of that nature.
Kind of music with like certain elements or things like that.
I kind of gravitated more towards, or like I've always liked a little bit more of this kind of smooth jazz kind of stuff, which is funny, but like those kind of elements from like the late 80s and 90s and that kind of scene of like kind of like jazz guitar, but kind of like, I don't know what people call it, like not even elevator music, but the jazz masters, like, fusion. But jazz fusion type stuff.
Easy listening.
Yeah, but for me, it's just like, the musicality is just so soothing, and it's just, there's a lot of experimentation that goes on in those records, especially the players that are on them are just, it's fantastic. But I've kind of been listening to a lot more of that, and then some full band stuff too. Like, again, I don't really just fill my head with electronic music and total like dance music all the time, but like there's a band called Geese that's really cool.
I've heard a lot about them. People are saying they're kind of bringing back rock music.
And so it's like exciting kind of stuff like that. Like, it's kind of fun to like get back into like maybe like a new band like that. So it's kind of broadening your scope, because again it's just like sometimes you'll always love music like that. That's what you kind of grew up listening to, so you always have a penchant for like just a full rock band type deal.
That's kind of like for me too. For most of like the past decade, it's like I've mostly I love Spotify because like they started doing the Discover Weekly playlists where it's like and I actually canceled my Spotify recently. I'm now a YouTube music guy. Which is a weird transition, but anyways. But Spotify I've used for like 10 years, and it's like I've discovered so many but it's all like this indie rock type of sound, it's like that kind of stuff. But I loved it because it's like you could discover so many bands that are all not even, who knows even when they were active, but it's like it could be and they could be different countries, and it's just like all this stuff that you get. And I have like this playlist that's probably like thousands of songs deep of like just all this type of stuff,
That's awesome.
That's like, that I've kind of collected from those. But anyways, now I've kind of gone away from that, and like I said, kind of going into this more pop stuff. But anyways, I'm always starting to ask like the guests on the podcast that question about like, what are you listening to? Like, this is an interesting thing to like current stuff. But anyways, so would you ever consider trying stand-up comedy?
I mean, Nick asks me all the time,
like every week.
I would, at some point, I think I will. I will dip my toes, and I will give myself. I will try it and open mic, and make sure Nick is there to see me.
Write a tight 5.
Write a tight 5. Find a couple anecdotes. Talk about them.
When I'm with my friends, it's always stand-up comedy. I'm always joking around, So it's like that's kind of
you're always thinking about jokes.
And it's just like and to do it in front of people, But like to like make your friends or whoever's like with you laugh, it's just like that's just there's nothing better than that.
Exactly, truly.
Yeah, no, I was always curious. I do think that like because even
that's something I think I'll put on my New Year's resolution to do something in 2026. So Nick, if you're listening, to this, coming for it, you're gonna have to. I'll show up
No, that'd be fun for sure. Like I said, 'cause I do think that everyone should try it, including myself, just to like see what it's like. And I'm sure there's a lot you could learn from it, no matter what. 'Cause like I said, this public speaking aspect, because that's what I mean. If you can do stand up comedy, I think you could do anything.
Yeah,
you know, like there's nothing more terrifying, I think, than getting on stage with a microphone and trying to make people laugh.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I mean, that's why I do think it's, I try to encourage other, and it's just, I used to ask that question a lot more to the guests that aren't stand-up comics, just because it's like,
Yeah.
Or I guess because another thing is, I mean, what about like acting or like or even filmmaking in general? I mean, I know that
I like watching movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm such an appreciator of movies, but it's just like the world needs critics, man.
Yeah.
So I'll just,
stick to that.
Yeah, but I mean, I still I try to go to the movies about every week.
Yeah.
To the theater. It's just always been
for sure. Yeah, because I know you guys are both big movies. I mean, we all are. As far as I think that's definitely something we have in common is our love for movies. But yeah, I'm just curious about like, because I'm very, very interested in filmmaking and I have not. I mean, on the sound department, which is fun, but just being a part of something like that is incredible.
Yeah.
But I was just curious if you guys ever thought about that, making film.
Where's the time?
Yeah, I mean, just like, or maybe even if you ever wanted to try, get into that.
If the opportunity came, and like, it's just like,
sure. Then I would say yes.
Yeah.
The stars aligned. Yeah,
right. I don't
see why not.
Yeah. I don't know. Just something that.
Good question.
Just was curious about, because like I said, usually whenever we're, like you said, if you're such a big fan of something, it's like you probably want to at least maybe try to see how you can fit into the making of it. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, last few things. What is the biggest challenge that you're currently facing?
As far as DJing?
Yeah, or just any.
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would say we're sunsetting.
I think, well, go ahead.
I'd say we're sunsetting type of like playing so much and kind of passing the torch, so to speak, to like the next generation. And it's been pretty great. I mean, I've got a lot of things going on in my life that, it's kind of require a little bit more attention. And I don't mind giving it to that. And we've kind of done about everything that I wanted to do in this city,
great.
and I feel satisfied.
I think the older you get, just time, it's just like, how do you want to utilize your time? And I think it's a challenge, but it's just like, what finding that fulfillment, that's trying new things, spending more time with your significant other, because again, like when we were playing all the time, it's just like you would it was if you had time for a girlfriend, but like now it's like, how do you balance the weekends if you're playing all the time, and having some of that time to have a relationship and all that. So but yeah, just time.
Yeah, I think that's most people's challenge, anyways. I know Nick's one of Nick's big questions he likes to ask is like time management, where it's like, how do you balance work, life, your craft, and all of that. Right. But I think everybody's got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure out kind of, obviously with him in particular, I know it's like his family is hugely important. So yes, he wants to dedicate a certain amount of time to that, but he also does a lot everywhere else.
Really does.
It's
and own his own company.
And that's like, exactly. The company trying to do stand up producing, and it's like that's why he's not here as much anymore. It's just because it's like he really doesn't have the time for it.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because I still get him at least once a month for a podcast. But so anyways, okay, so what does success look like to you? I mean, it's similar, I think, to that what you just said, as far as I think you guys have made it.
We've kind of done quite a bit of fun things, and I've got a lot of great memories, and I think success is we were able to do what we want to do, like as far as being able to play the type of music we want to play and have creative control over that, and be able to play for different types of audiences and do a lot of just different parties in this city. Yeah. The success for sure. Just being able to do it at 10 years later.
Yeah.
Is definitely success.
Yeah, not feeling like you're like, oh, I wish I had gotten to do that. Or, it's
having
just,
regrets.
man. Yeah, when you're making your opportunities, it's like,
yeah.
And I mean, you could say like, hey, it was a pretty successful run. And who knows what success looks like in the future. But I think it's also feeling comfortable in your own skin and comfortable with like the life that you've kind of created and you're about to go into. It's like we're going to be 40 years old, so it's like, I would say finding content or being content with like your life. Yeah. It's like, have I set myself up to have like a, comfortable life? I think that'll be a good measure of success.
That'll be the next phase, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess what do you guys see coming next as far as like for DJing? I mean, you talked about playing kind of more festival type things, like bigger,
more kind of. We got opening spots or opening for like touring acts and doing more kind of like random festival spots. Those are kind of the fun things that I would like to have opportunities to have more in the future. Maybe something we do every other month or something like that. That seems like the natural fit.
Definitely taking a step back from the every weekend.
Oh yeah,
and there's a younger crowd that needs the opportunities too, and can learn a lot from doing that.
Well, we did, just like playing.
But again, like it's kind of had one of those boxes we checked off. It's like, we did that whole thing.
Right.
Like that grind of like a Friday and Saturday, consistently for 3, almost 5 years or whatever. So it's just like, I mean, that wears on you, but it also adds so much. Foundational.
It's
we've got the stories, we've got the nights, the fun nights, and so it's just like
you've done it.
I
was talking to my friend Jeremy. You guys know Jeremy and Lauren, the Martin Duprass. They're they're a married couple, but they're comedians.
I think I think Nick has mentioned them.
Anyways, I was talking to them. They've been doing it comedy for like 15 years or something, and like I was talking to Jeremy because they hosted open mic that it was at Mycelium Gallery last week. It was their first open mic at the galleries. They're going to start doing monthly anyways. But it's just weird that, or that's like for a stand-up comic, it's like that's kind of like the grind, right? It's like you have to go to the mics every, several times a week, or if not more, to get those reps in. It's like what you guys
absolutely
similarly like playing those weekly
weekly
things.
That's how you have
but
to
it's
do
like
it.
But Jeremy was saying the other day, he was like, he's so glad that they don't have to do that anymore. It's like they've done it for years.
It's amazing.
So
it's a rite of passage for sure. Oh my god, it's
like
the best.
You don't have to like put in that time.
People just know your name and they say, "Oh, he'd be a good fit."
Right.
They'd be a good fit. Yeah, it's the best.
It's great. So
that's another measure of success.
Okay, so I guess last thing is like, where can people find you guys on the internet, and maybe if you have anything coming up that you want to shout out, I don't know.
Just the Robinson Brothers on Instagram.
At the Robinson Brothers.
At the Robinson Brothers. It's a fairly active account,
But whenever you have stuff going on,
we'll post it in there. Neal will post on his Instagram.
So mine's at Neal_Robinson, Neal_Robinson.
So it's a good place to keep up. You are very active on your account.
Very active.
And posting about your stories and things.
Yeah, just
different
like
fashion.
You see some cool tunes.
Yeah.
Some old vintage T-shirts.
For sure, yeah.
Come find me.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. Well, this has been a great conversation.
Absolutely. This is fantastic, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all coming out.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you, friend.
It's been fun to kind of catch up and talk about like some of the old days. And
I'll have to get the whole gang back next time.
Yeah, for sure. We'll do some more informal things. I was thinking about, because I ran into you like fairly recently, a few weeks ago. And like we were just like, we gotta get together and catch up. And then later I was just thinking like, man, the only way that people can hang out with me, it's like if you come do a podcast. And I was like, well, come do a podcast.
There you go, man.
Each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
But because that's about all I do these days is podcasts. Or if you come to one of Nick's comedy shows.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Because I'm usually there.
We'll make some time for lunch or something.
Yeah, I'm bad about that. That's my thing. Is like I rarely do. I've been saying this a lot lately. It's like I don't really do very much for fun these days, but everything I do is fun, I think, it's like, but I'm always working. It's work. So I'm like taking photos at a show or something that's like fun.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I don't actually just make time to not work and like just hang out.
Yeah.
So I probably need to do that more. But anyways. All right. Well, this has been awesome. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
All right. That's it.
Awesome, man.